What's the dealio, bro? Well, it looks like the cute little blonde girl got attacked in the woods by some werewolves. Alright, let's go kill some werewolves. Hold on. When has a strange, cute little blonde girl ever worked out for us? Oh, fuck! Is this what it feels like to have a child become a successful drug dealer? You know, you're just so proud that they're standing on their own and running a business, managing money and people, but there's no overlooking the fact that they're a drug dealer. This season, there's so much to love, just endless callbacks and references to the past, generally stable and decent references to canon, or at least nothing is too horrendous when being added. Acting is solid, the filming, directing, action sequences, all that, really good. And yet, all of it is in service to transforming Chuck into a villain. I want to be proud, but I can't overlook the horrifying root of it all. One thing I should get out of the way first. I asked for bets on what was the meaning of Sam's visions. Well, I want to give props to Annabelle Lee Williams, who took the third option in the debate. She said, and I quote, "I think Sam is glimpsing alternate universes, but I don't think we're going to have any contact with them. More that I suspect he's going to see all the different ways AU Winchesters have killed each other. Because the idea that one brother is fated to kill the other has been a staple of the show since season 2. Well, kudos to Annabelle. I was half right about Sam being a prophet, but it looks like she called it completely before the episode aired. Jim Dean will now give you a round of applause. I will admit having some fun trying to guess which season the visions were supposed to be referencing. For example, Dean with the Mark of Cain, obviously a vision of the ending of season 10. Sam in white outright calls back to season 5, to the point I'm kind of curious that they didn't just play the clip straight from episode 504, the end. This then makes you wonder what season that red vision from previously was a reference to. I'm going to go with season 2 as a possibility of Sam going demonic in service to the yellow-dyed demon. Toss out your own theories. Let's talk a moment about writing. Again, going back to using Discord here to stand in for Chuck. I like to use the metaphor that stories are like food. There is an objective form of quality to them, but that doesn't really have an impact on your feelings. For example, broccoli has, objectively speaking, nutritional value. It is good for you to eat it. But in no way does that nutrition mean everyone is going to love eating it. All the facts and data about how great broccoli is for your body isn't going to improve its taste to you one bit. Conversely, chocolate cake has almost no nutritional value. If anything, it nearly has negative value and it can be bad for you to eat it. But that doesn't change the fact that it tastes amazing and we love eating it. But let's be real. No amount of love and savoring of chocolate cake will change its nutritional value one bit, nor make it less fattening. In this way, stories can be objectively good or bad, but that doesn't have any impact on your personal enjoyment of them. You can love bad stories and hate great ones. That's okay. The challenge is, if stories have an objective quality, how could we measure it? I'll admit, it's a great philosophical debate that's beyond the full scope of this video, unless y'all just want to hear me babble on for hours on end. One thing, though, I really loved in this episode is that it has a great example within the text. I've talked before that writing is like a magic show, and the more the audience can see your hand pulling the strings, the worse of a magician you are. Likewise, the worse of a writer you are. What do we see in this episode? Sam goes complaining about how, well, it all seems too easy. That is a great moment because at times the show has had that problem of things being a little too easy or convenient. In fact, we get a subtle callback here. You remember the last time the boys in an episode faced some werewolves in a cabin in the middle of the woods? Remember how that time Sam was grievously injured? And this episode takes a moment to remind you of that when one of the brothers has Sam dead to rights with his own gun. I complained back in that previous episode, 1117 Red Meat, that it wasn't remotely believable for Sam to still be alive after bleeding out an entire night in the cold woods. Likewise here, it isn't quite believable that this werewolf holding a gun to him would have a touch of guilt so powerful that he would kill his brother than himself. There were a few hints of it in the episode, but nothing really setting up such a dramatic turn. But then the episode details why. This is Chuck's doing. It's his goal. He wants the werewolves to be foreshadowing of the end of the story, which Lilith outright calls attention to. It's a pretty hilarious moment of meta-commentary on the writing process. Oftentimes on your first draft, you'll have things that are a little too obvious, and you'll often have to go back and make multiple passes through the story to really sand it down and integrate all those little seeds to make the moment more organic, to better hide the strings you pull as a writer. I like that. The problem is, the show then makes a mistake like this without any sign of a meta reason. Sam walks in, shoots Lilith in a great callback to the finale of season 2, and then while she's sitting there paralyzed, he doesn't bother attacking her, but instead just runs away. Why? Why? Don't get me wrong. I believe there are legit in-canon reasons for Ruby's knife to not work on Lilith. But it would be better if we actually got to see it, stab, oh, that didn't work, now let's run away, than just having them going, nope, I'm out of here, because she, taunted them? Well, you can kind of see why it happened. The actual show writers needed Lilith to get the upper hand and destroy the equalizer. And rather than work out why Lilith might gain the upper hand in that moment where they have her dead to rights, the script just has the Winchesters run away. It was a moment every bit as blatant as the werewolf brothers killing each other, yet this time there was no sign of Chuck's interference. So I'm kind of torn. Was this moment the most subtle joke the entire episode? Like the writers outright winking at us to acknowledge that they're as hacky as Chuck? Or was this an unintentional moment of a bad draft? Now for the question of Lilith's return. Well, there's always been a question that if there's a heaven and a hell for souls, what happens to angels and demons when they die? For the longest time, I'd kind of been assuming that they were obliviated, completely destroyed. No more. They ceased to be. Then season 13 rolled around and we learned that angels went, in fact, to a place called the Big Empty. Well, Lilith now confirms that apparently anybody belonging to the afterlife now goes there when destroyed. Oblivion has a zip code. Well, the problems with the Big Empty I covered back when it was revealed. That's more of a philosophy of writing question and practicality than canon. If they are going to keep this place in canon, I don't find this to be a big jump that all the demons killed are also sent to there. In fact, I will be fair. I will even admit this could solve my outrage over the closing shot of the season 14 finale. Back then, I wondered what of Jack was seen in the Big Empty. Well, if angels and demons both go there when they are killed or destroyed, it's a small leap to assume that all the souls that have been destroyed are sent there as well. For all we know, Donatello's eaten soul could be having a nap somewhere in there. If that's the case, then the Jack we saw in the blackness at the close of season 14 would probably be his soul that was sent there when it was consumed in episode 1414 Ouroboros. It kind of takes a lot of the drama out of the season, but it is at least a viable answer. So consider me officially retracting that specific complaint about season 14's finale. Then there's Chuck himself. You know, I debated what I was going to say here, but instead, I'm just going to provide 2 quotes. From this episode, Dean says, "Because that's not what he wants. Lila said that Chuck only likes one kind of ending. You kill me, or I kill you." Now, from episode 522, Swan Song, one of my personal favorite quotes of the series. So, what's it all add up to? It's hard to say, but I'd say this was a test for Sam and Dean. And I think they did all right. Up against good, evil, angels, devils, destiny, and God himself, they made their own choice. They chose family. And well, isn't that kind of the whole point? The character who said that? Chuck. On a final minor point, the closing scene of Dean despairing was well acted, and it is a powerful emotional note to end this episode in particular on. Good job from Jensen. But I do hope that in the next episode they address 2 important points. 1, the boys have already fought Chuck's sister. So should Dean really be that incredulous about how can we do this? 2, from there is the larger complication that when Amara badly wounded Chuck, it nearly destroyed the whole world. So how exactly can the boys fight Chuck without causing everything to blow up? That is a worthwhile conundrum I would like to see them tackle. How do you fight a fight that you can't really win because it would cause a bigger loss? There's some real potential for drama and philosophy there that I hope they will do justice later on. As for this episode, going back to what we'd said earlier, well, I have to give it a 4 shell on an objective scale, but it is a bit of a 2 to my personal taste. Again, I love almost everything about it. There's a ton to enjoy, but I cannot overlook that all of this is in service to transforming Chuck into a villain. Still, as I said before in the Winchester's Family Business Top 100 Episodes poll, a mark of a good episode is one that gives me every reason to hate it, but makes me love it anyway. So we'll see what next week brings. Subscribe if you want, or don't.